This is a plywood and this is a block wood. And there's a lot of difference between that. See, the one which is circulated right now, you can see those different lines. These are called as ply, which is arranged in 90 degrees and glued. So what happens, this ply is much more stronger than your block wood. Block wood is something like this. Vikram, what you have is a block wood in your hand right now, which has wooden strips, goes across. If you see the cross section, you see the wooden strips which goes across, and then you have these two plies which are like a sandwich. So this is a block wood and this is a ply. When you see the weight, the block wood is lighter than the ply. So where you can use these, and plies come in different sizes, thickness rather. So these are all different thicknesses. Okay, you can just pass it on. So what happens is, these plies are used mainly when you need to use cupboards, storages, especially for your books, because they're very heavy. You have to use plywood and not block wood. And block wood is one place where you can use is for shutters, because they are lighter than plywood, and when it fixed to hinges, it's much more easier and long lasting. When you use the ply for that, it becomes heavy and your door starts sagging down. So these are the things which you have to take care of. And the pricing also differs from thickness to thickness, then also from company to company. Okay? And if you want to know the pricings, I can talk to you all individually and give you all the pricings if you're interested or not. And then after that, I have something called as MDF. MDF is another kind of wood which usually people use. It is because it's called as medium density fiber boards, which is actually a sawdust which they compress it with a lot of chemicals and glue and make a board out of it. So this is a block board. This can be used just as it is and polish it, or you can put Duco paint or something like that. But in this board, you can do a lot of carving designs, and it's like a solid wood. You can make use of this wood for carving and such things. And this is another wood which is called as particle board. Something we also use is like we need to build a partition or something. We call it as a drywall construction, because usually you build walls with cement, bricks, stones and all that. But here in interiors, you don't have that kind of facility. It's messy also. So what we do is there are different types. One, you must have seen a wooden partition. Usually they put two plywoods and make a partition out of it. You can also have Aerocon partitions, which is very cheap, but you have a big something moved, then you have a big hole in it. So that's the only problem, but that's the cheapest. And there's something new which has come up, is called as, this is a cement foam material. This is something new which has come into market, which is, it comes in 2 feet and height can be 10 feet, 8 to 10 feet. And this, it comes like a joint. So what they do is, there's 2 feet material, one piece here, they take it, join it, and then they just put a plaster, a kind of a mesh on top of it and plaster it. So this becomes a normal wall, like a plastered wall. And on top of this, you have different surface treatments.
Okay, so since now we're all clear about the materials and we understand the materials so well, the next section that we're going to be talking about are colors. So when I say the word colors, what does it make you feel? How many go like any of these?
Don't worry, I was one of them.
Okay, even if you get there, don't worry, we're going to help you how you can get out of it. So, okay, tell me honestly, how many of you have gone to maybe an interior store or flipped through the magazines, and seen those vibrant colors, those bold shades, really loved it, okay, admired it. But when it came to the question of selecting for your place, you went for the safe, neutral shade, which you are comfortable with. How many have done this? It's okay, because most of us tend to do that, right? So, it's really sad that there's a color or there's something that, really makes our heart sing. We're all excited about it, but something makes us lose that confidence and we kind of let go of that, right? So today I'm going to share some information where it can help you get the confidence to really go with the color or the shade that really makes sense to you, right? So first information is, that painting is the cheapest, quickest, most effective and most flexible way of changing the look and feel of a space. Please note, even the feel of the space. Okay, and the biggest myth, that only some people are born, with a sense of understanding or recognizing colors. Okay, it's a total myth. Because each individual has an emotional tendency or a connection to or a reaction to any color that is around them. Okay? See, think about it. Maybe there's a color, if I were to really put a big color in front of you, you would know how it feels. Either you will like it or you will not like it. Correct? So now, so basically intuition, since it plays a very important role in understanding colors, there's also a science behind it. Okay, so let me take you a little bit through that science part. How many of you remember your science class in school? Don't worry, I'm not going to ask technical questions. I'm not going to ask you to prove a theorem or anything like that as to any of the colors. I'm just asking you to remember doing one experiment where you would hold a prism and you would make a light pass through it and it would split into how many colors?
7.
Rainbow colors, right? 7 colors. So can you tell me what the colors are of a rainbow?
Violet, pink, green, yellow, orange.
I just wanted
Great, you remember. Okay, so something very basic, which is very, very important for designers, which they normally use, is called the color wheel. Okay, now if you understand the color wheel, it will be very easy for you also to understand and pick colors as to very confidently which will go and which will not go. Okay, now see, these are the colors of the rainbow. Now this is what a color wheel looks like. If you see, it's made out of 6 colors and not the 7. So the color which is not a part of the color wheel is the indigo because it comes as a part of blue. So you have blue, violet, red, orange, yellow and green, which form the part of the color wheel. Now if you were to see the color wheel, okay, can you tell me if you remember which are the 3 primary colors? We've all learned that. Now, in terms of understanding how you can do it in the placement of your house, there's something called as Feng Shui. Now, Feng Shui is a Chinese art of placement. Okay, now where the basic philosophy is very simple, where they believe that the wellness or the physical health and the spiritual health can only exist if the energy is allowed to flow freely. If there's any kind of a block or if it's stagnating, then you will have a lot of stress or illness. Okay, so now Feng Shui has a certain way that if you place the elements in a particular manner or in a particular space, we're actually allowing the energies to flow correctly. So, especially if you see the primary colors or the bold colors, they are actually considered to be the maximum in energy according to Feng Shui. So, you want to talk about that?
Yeah. See, actually what happens is we have our own Vastu in India and they have the colors. So in Vastu, when we build a house or something, we look into where to locate what in those zones. But after that, then the best thing is to energize. Sometimes you can't change the places. So to energize the space, we can actually say you can use the colors there or you can use the elements. Like if you see the north usually is a water, a blue color or some water element or a picture of a water element can also represent that space, that color there. So you can have them in the north side of your house or a room. And even northeast or southwest, these are both diagonally opposite and they are mainly of earth elements, which you can have the colors or you can have objects or a picture also. Again, the pictures also is equivalent to the objects which are going to be there. And then we have these on the east and the southeast. We have wood color. Wood is like more representation of trees, nature as much as possible. So you can have your green colors or shades of brown and green there to have more energy. These colors, when you use it in this manner, the energy flow is much more easier. It's like you have fire. Fire is burnt with wood, and then air. You need air to burn that. So one thing is related to the other. If it's not arranged in a proper manner, you're not going to get the energy flow. It's like a life cycle, basically. They believe in that. So in the northwest and west, we have metal. Metal, which again you can have actual metal, or you can go with colors like silver, gold, or white. So this is basically the energy flow in Feng Shui. So it's like how we have a life cycle, how we cannot reverse a life cycle. And if we try to do that, there's a difference. It's not harmony. So to get the harmony, they have this. So if you are interested, so you can use this also as, See, because when you already, as she said, and you have colors in the room, suddenly you can't have another color, gray coming into there. Now what you do is you put a metal element in that place. You have a color, but you can complement it with a metal element. So like that you can balance your energy in your spaces. See, actually Vastu is nothing but it's a building where you can have this art of balancing the human part of it and the nature part of it. So if the person is right, then the energy increases if he's in the right position. So that's the main thing. So basically we try to make the energy around us as positive as possible. So like Feng Shui in Vastu also, there's certain energies in certain rooms have to come into certain spaces. So if you see, like usually they say, okay, master bedroom has to come in the southwest. Okay, that's the first option. But as a designer, as you will come across, when it comes right in the front, near the say road or something, it may be difficult. The client doesn't want the master bedroom, right in the front. He wants it in the back. Then the second option would be somewhere on the northeast. The same thing happens with the kitchen. You have it in the southeast is the first option. If you don't want, then you can keep it as the northwest. And also there are some things like toilets, you can keep it on northwest, west or south. But you can never ever position them in the southwest, because that's supposed to be a wealth corner, and never put a toilet in the wealth corner. It like all your wealth goes through the drain. Vastu is also a scientific way of they have got it. It's based on light and air. So that's the reason we mainly do things on any design. We concentrate on light and ventilation. So what happens is, see, when you have a sunrise, you have an ultraviolet rays coming out, and that ultraviolet rays is very good for our body. And when you have a kids or something, they say put the kid in the sun in the daylight, morning daylight, you have vitamin D and all that stuff. But at the same time, the same sun, when it's setting down, you have infrared rays coming out, and that's not good for your body. It's cancerous and all that. So what you see also, when you have east and west, you understood the morning light is better and the west side is not good. The same thing when you see our India is on the north part of the globe. So what happens, the most of the time the sun is on the south side. You will never get the sun on the north one. So you will never get so what happens, obviously you don't have any rays coming on the north side. So the best is to open up all your windows and doors on the east and north. So you have the healthy rays coming into the house, and when your sun is setting down, you will get minimal windows and doors, so you don't have the harmful rays coming in the evening. So when you hire a carpenter, so just make sure that he uses those materials in that place and not anything else. Otherwise, like instead of plywood, if he uses a block board has a tendency to walk. So you have a wardrobe or a bookshelf or something, and he uses block board over there. After a year or two, it starts warping, and then you wasted money on that. So make sure that you use plywood over there, and like that you have to just keep in mind the materials where it goes. And if you want to know the costing, like if you want they usually base it on square feet rate. You say, okay, fine, I want a wardrobe. So like, okay, what's the square feet, and per square feet is so much. There's a difference. When you go for a wardrobe, like what happens, you have a wardrobe inside portion. Nowadays everyone gets it a laminate. But earlier they used to just go for paint and finish it. But paint used to smell a lot. But that's the cheapest way of doing it. But when you go for inside laminate and outside laminate, a cost of a wardrobe, a simple wardrobe would be around 800 rupees to 850 rupees. Okay. Anything more than that, it depends. You can sit and bargain with them and get some prices over there. But when you go for a veneer or something, because veneer is expensive and it needs an additional polish of that and all that stuff. So it goes somewhere between 900 to 1100 rupees, veneer wardrobes. But when it comes to bookshelves may be a little more extra, because a little extra work is done to it, extra material goes into it. So when it goes to a square feet rate, that will have another 50 rupees or 100 rupees more to whatever the wardrobe is. That could be that one. And then also when you have a chest of drawers. Chest of drawers is again material and labor involvement is more. So chest of drawers again another 50 rupees more than your veneer kind of finish.
Important thing to remember over here is carpenters normally will tell you that okay, you know what, if you want me to do on labor basis, I'll do the labor basis, you get the material or you source it. Please be prepared, that person is going to be wasting it because he is not getting the material for you and he is not getting the cost of that into the whole cost that he is charging you. He is not going to be bothering whether that entire sheet is actually going to use it effectively. He is just going to be using it as he feels like because he is not the one who is getting the materials along with it. So that is one caution to look for when you are saying that you do the labor part of it and I'm just going to be getting you the material. Okay, that's where you can also get lost in terms of getting them to do it. Okay, and if they are saying that they're going to be again doing it inclusive of material, then make sure, as she said, that they're not using that material somewhere else. Sometimes what they will do is they have a project work of somewhere else and they have your space there, nobody is there monitoring it. They will start getting the other work finished in the kind of material that's over there and using it for the other side without even your knowledge. So it's always important, please share your requirements. Give them a complete list of what you want. Okay, but give them that creative space to really design or come up with whatever that they can come up with because you always have the choice of speaking to them, cutting it down or again talking about what you really want. But make sure you give them that little space. In this case, the client was very particular, it's a couple, okay, it's a husband and wife. And the wife loves Japanese, anything. Okay, so she's been to Japan a couple of times and she's collected a lot of these Japanese umbrella and Japanese like these cute small curios and paintings and things like that she's picked up from traveling a lot and she loves the Japanese theme in the place. Husband is in contrast, he loves the contemporary stuff. So finally when we were called to meet them up, and they were both like, okay, you know what, I want my Japanese theme. He's like, hello, I want it contemporary. You can't be putting like too much of your stuff. And he's like, you can't be putting too much of your stuff. So they had to actually create a kind of a balance which they were okay with. So if you see in this case, here, this is an umbrella she had picked up. Okay, so which we've actually made it like a light feature in the center. But if you were to show you the entire space, you would see it's a whole difference of how it looks of putting the elements of contemporary and Japanese together. But here the difference was they actually very openly shared in the beginning. They were not hesitant in terms of what.
Concealed lighting, red carpet in the room, along with a nice bar counter out there. So let's start with here. Here I'm going to have a screen hung up, like a big screen, whatever size
Reading room. First of all, I want sliding doors here. So it will be wood and a light fabric, a white fabric. So similar to the Japanese screen doors.
Part of this. And I want to put the cot like this and two side tables.
Alright, so this wall, okay, I have the bed here and I'll have strips of stone cladding on